It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It's our ball, ain't it? It's our ball. Hey!
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Casual GM YouTube channel. And today we're gonna be doing a 5-round mock draft for the Carolina Panthers. Side note: I am from North Carolina, but I'm not a Panthers fan. I'm a Steelers fan. So I have no ill will towards the Panthers. I just always grew up a Steelers fan. I do root for the Panthers as like a hometown team. So we are gonna be trying to do our best for the Panthers. And yeah, the basis premise of this video is we're gonna be doing 2 5-round mock drafts. First draft we're gonna be doing, there will be no trades in the draft. So we're gonna be picking with all the Panthers original picks this year. The second draft, we will be trying to do some trades. We may do them, we may not. We're not going to force a trade. That's just not realistic. But we might try to do a little something and spice up the video. And yeah, I think so. My feelings about the Panthers is they had a real up and down year, but I do think they had some very good positives this year. The biggest positive is their quarterback. He doesn't look like a bust no more. So Bryce Young had a real good year. I think, especially after the benching, he really bounced back nice. If you look at his counting stats, they aren't that bad, really, especially for how many games he played. And I feel like he really found himself at the end of the year. I do think that the Panthers' main goal going into this year's draft should be offense, though. I think the Panthers, they should be operating on a 2-year plan, basically. Year 1, try to solve the offense as much as you can, and year 2, fix the defense, and then by year 3, I think they should be competing for the playoffs, especially in that division with those teams. I just don't see any of those teams becoming like powerhouses in the near future. So by year 3, they should be competing for the playoffs at the very least in that division. So all right, let's jump into this draft. We're gonna go into draft. And now we're going to be starting. Panthers are now on the board with the 8th pick in the first round. Like I said, I do want to focus on offense this draft, but that doesn't mean we're going to be taking straight offensive players. And Abdul Carter is on the board. He's the number 2 ranked player on PFF on their draft board. So I will say, like, that's kind of like tough to pass up on that value, but let's look at some of the other players they have available. Get Ashton Genty, Will Campbell, James Pierce Jr., Luther Burden III, Mike Green, Josh Simmons. Yeah, I think this round, Tyler Warren. It's kind of tough to pass up on a dude Carter right there at that pick. So I did say we was going to be focusing on offense, but they have 8 first round, not 8 first round picks, but they have 8 picks in the first 5 rounds this year. So they have plenty of picks to go get offensive players. And defense is a big liability, so I think we can't pass up on Abdul Carter right here. I think it's self-explanatory why we're going to take him. Like, he just had great production this year, and he could be a next generational pass rusher in the NFL. So let's draft him right now. All right, the Panthers are back on the board in the second round with the 58th pick. And the top player available right now is Jordan Birch, Cameron Williams, Ossie Trapilo, Chris Paul Jr., Sebastian Castro, Alfred Collins, Ariante Irsay, and Tyler Booker. Offensive line wise, the Panthers' offensive line isn't that bad. Not as bad as it was last year. So they really made some steps forward this year. They started to play a lot better as the season went on. I think that is kind of what started Bryce Young's turnaround, really. It's that offensive line. He's not a big quarterback. He's mobile, but he's not the fastest. He's fastest or most athletic. So I think that offensive line being better did play a big part in his turnaround. Right now, a lot of tackles are available. I think tackle isn't that bad on that team, so I don't know if we take a tackle here. If we do, they may move inside, or the tackle that's already on the team could move inside. Really, their picks, the way their picks are set up, it's kind of geared to picking defensive players. in this draft. So they could only focus on their defense this draft because I think whenever they're going to be up to pick, a lot of good defense players are going to be available, but maybe not the offensive players they might want. We got Kevin Winston Jr., got Harold Fannin Jr., second round, 58, maybe a little bit high for him. But like I said, I did want to focus on offense. Some of their offensive positions of need, I feel like, are backup running back, so you can have a two-back system. I think wide receiver is definitely a position of need. Jalen Coker showed some flashes. They took what's his name out of South Carolina, Xavier Legette. He kind of had an up and down year. There still had the old man Adam Thielen putting up great seasons, but I don't know how much longer you could count on that. They could lose Tommy Tremble this year in free agency, or just not bring him back altogether. So I think right here with the 58th pick, I think we're going to take Harold Fannin Jr., tight end from Bowling Green. All right, we're back on the board with the 74th pick. And I think we could take wide receiver here. And I do like Jalen Rose from Utah State. Safety Latham Ransom, he could be a pick here. PFF, top positions need for the Panthers are D-line and defensive back. So Latham Ransom could fit in that area. Trayvon Henderson for running back, I really like that. Him and Chuba Hubbard, that's explosive backfield right there. I really like that. I really like the idea with that. At the end, and I think we could go wide receiver with that 109 pick. So Quinshon Judkins, I really like Quinshon Judkins. Yeah, just from the players available, I think we're gonna go with 109 is our next pick. I don't know if these running backs gonna be here, so I'm gonna take Trayvon Henderson, running back from Ohio State, with the third round with the 10th pick. Then our next pickup is 109. All right, we're back on the board. 109 in the 4th round. Top player available is Will Howard. I don't see them taking a quarterback this draft, not a starter quarterback at least. On the Antoine Powell-Ryland, I really like him from Virginia Tech. He's had 2 really good seasons there with a lot of production. I think he fits some of their needs on the defensive side of the ball. Virginia, North Carolina, not that big a difference, like culture wise, and just culture wise. JJ Puegas from Ole Miss, Mason Taylor, Jaquez Hunter. I thought there would be more wide receivers available right here, but I think we just go best player available at a position of need. We took a tight end, Jalen Noel here at wide receiver. That could be who we got. But we also had the 112th pick after this. So this pick 109. We picked 3 picks later at 112. I think we take Antoine Powell-Ryland. I think he had 10 sacks last year, 14 sacks this year. He's like 6'3", 250. So physically, like I think he'll hold up just fine. It could be a good pass rusher. Him and we did take Abdul Carter. So him and Abdul Carter, 2 young pass rushers, like build around for the future. And I think they could maybe bring Jadeveon Clowney back and mentor those guys. I think you start to fix that D-line. You start to get some pass rush on teams. All right, so we are back here at 112. Let's see for wide receiver, some of the wide receivers that are available. We got Jalen Noel from Iowa State. You got Mason Taylor, tight end from LSU. Torrey Horton from Colorado State. I really like him at wide receiver. I don't know if he's a little bit injury prone or not. You got Pat Bryant from Illinois. Kobe Hudson. I really like Jalen Noel. Let's look at his grades. So he had an 80 overall PFF grade this year, 75 last year. He had 11, just almost 1,200 yards this year, about 820 last year. Played 12 games last year, 14 this year. Let's see his measurables. He's 5'11", 200. So he's solid built, but he's not like a huge wide receiver, which I don't really think they need because they do have Leggett and Coker, who are big wide receivers. So somebody like a Jalen Noel would fit. Or Horton would give you some more size, and just you really have a kind of big wide receiving core. You bring him in. I think the gap between him and Pat Bryant from Illinois. Let's look at him. He had 84 on PFF ranking this year. 984 yards, 560. Size wise, he's 6'3", 200. So that's another big wide receiver right there. Xavier Leggett just doesn't seem like the outside, like went on the outside type receiver. So I don't know if let's see how they have him. Contested catch, he got a 69 percentile ranking. 86 receiving grade. 83.7 versus man coverage. Only one drop on the season, so that's pretty good. 12 deep catches, which is tied for 21st. This is kind of tough. Let's go back and look at Jalen Noel's deep catches. So I think they need somebody on the outside that can win on the outside. He had 4 drops though this year, but he had 14 deep catches, which is tied for 10th. But he had 14. The other guy had 12 with less drops. Receiving grade, he had 81.7. Lord, contested catch percentage. But he had more yards and stuff. This is kind of tough right here. I think they go with Pat Bryant out of Illinois. Another big body receiver. Win down the field, win contested catches. All right, so back on the board at 140 in the 5th round. And offensively, let's see who we taking so far. So we taking Abdul Carter, Harold Fannin Jr., Trayvon Henderson, Antoine Powell Ryland, and who else? And Pat Bryant. So I think we got running back covered, we got tight end covered, got wide receiver covered, pass rusher. Now I think we focus on defensive back, D-line, and maybe offensive line. Could go linebacker also. Denzel Burke is here, cornerback, Ohio State. Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. O'Donnell Fortin from South Carolina. I think we go cornerback here. Let's kind of compare these corners and some of their grades, how they played this year. All right, Denzel Burke. Let's look at him. He had a 71 coverage grade. He played 79 coverage grade in zone. So he looks like he's a better zone corner than man corner. He had a 72 rating this year by PFF, which is not that good. He had a very up and down year. I don't know if they take Denzel Burks. I feel like he's going to be a hit or miss corner. Dorian Strong had a 73.9 grade this year, 81.6 last year. 75 coverage grade, 71 zone coverage grade, 72 in man. I don't know. I don't know if these corners are it. So look at Fortin from South Carolina. So he had the best grade this year with 85.8 out of those guys. He has a 90 coverage grade, 89.5 zone coverage grade. 79.8 man coverage. It's looking pretty obvious that he should be somebody. He should be the best one out of the 3. but he's ranked lower than them. He's 6'1", 185, so he's not a small corner. I think we take him. I think we take O'Donnell, Fortin from South Carolina, and yeah, that's the pick we're gonna go with. All right, we're back on the board at 146. So in the later rounds of the top 5 rounds, they have a lot of picks that are kind of not that far apart. So you really could stack up on players at this point in the draft. We could go cornerback again and just have them battle it out, like best guy wins type situation. Could go O-line here, linebacker. Center. I think center is a position that could be a need. It all depends on what they're doing for agency if center's in need, because both their centers are free agents this year. I think they could bring one of them back. If not, you could draft one. You still could draft one even if you do bring one back. But let's see who else available. All right. Tackle Jack Nelson for Wisconsin. Antoine Wells Jr. Safety Achille Arnold. I think they take Denzel Burke here from Ohio State, another cornerback, and just see who won. J.C. Horn is the number one corner, that's for sure. You basically just trying to find the other two corners, your nickel corner and the other outside corner. So now we're back on the board with our last pick in the top 5 rounds at 164. I think we go with center here and take Jack Majors from Texas. All right, so we have our grade. They're saying we should have took Alfred Collins in the second round over Harold Fanner Jr., which I think Alfred Collins is a better player at his position than Harold Fanner Jr. But like I said, going into this season, going into this draft, I feel like the Panthers should be focused on fixing the offense, finding out if Bryce Young is your quarterback for the future. I don't want to hear no excuses. Like, you put the pieces around him and find out if he's your franchise quarterback. That's why I took Harold Fanner Jr. Then I went Trevion Henderson in the second round. First pick, we took Abdul Carter. Then I went Antoine Powell Ryland, Pat Bryant, Odeno Fortin, South Carolina cornerback. Then went cornerback again. Got Denzel Burke. And the last pick in the top 5 rounds, we took Jake Majors, center out of Texas. And we got a B+ grade in our first draft. All right, now we're about to get into our second draft. This draft, we're going to be trying to do a lot more trades. We're not going to force anything, like I said. So let's get into it. All right, we're starting our second draft. All right, here we go. Start. All right, back on the board. This draft, Abdul Carter is not available. So Will Johnson is available. Like I said, I want to go offense, but this draft we could trade. So I might trade back. But Will Johnson at cornerback, him J.C. Horn, that could be very dynamic right there. Or we can go Malachi Starks, get us a safety. If you don't think Will Johnson is going to come back the same after that injury, like Malachi Starks could be a generational safety. Got Luther Burden there at 10. Let's just look at we have 4 trades pending. So we got Cowboys at 12. They offering a 12th pick. Steelers at the 21st pick. Man, Vikings at 24. Bills at 30th. I'm not trying to trade back that far. I'm trying to stay like at least the top 15. The Cowboys pick. Let's see. Yeah, I think we go to Cowboys. We take the 12th pick. And there will be like a realistic second pick, because we're not just gonna give up we're not gonna swap them straight out. So do we go for their second round pick 44? Give up a third round pick? Yeah, I think that we do that. I think we take on the second round pick 44, give them the 50. We just give them the 58th and move up in that pick also. Nah, I think we give them the 74th pick. Let's see. 74th pick and the 8th pick. And let's see if they accept. They do accept. So we move back to 12 and pick up another, I think, third rounder. Ashton Genty being on the board with them trading up makes no sense. The Cowboys should have took Ashton Genty. I assume that's what they would have been trading up for, but we not taking on. We're gonna take. Ooh, let me know in the comments who would y'all rather take, Luther Burden III or Emeka Egbuka. I really like Emeka Egbuka. I think he's a very mature wide receiver. Like playing at Ohio State, he never really got to be the number one, but he never complained about it. He just stayed consistent, stayed producing no matter what. Like he made big plays throughout the playoffs. Like he knows how to be a number two to a wide receiver. He can have flashes of being a number one. Like, or do you go with Luther Burden, who just has that pure talent? Like, yeah, kind of down year this year. I contribute that to some of the players around him, quarterback especially. Do you think you take him just best talent on the board, or does Emeka Egbuka? Do you take Emeka Egbuka? Could take Tyler Warren also right here. Pick up a receiver in the second round with that 44th pick. Just yeah, Tyler Warren could be a nice player for Bryce Young. Yeah, I think we take Tyler Warren right here. We take Tyler Warren right here. Now we got the 44th pick that we got from the Cowboys. We up on the board right now. You got Xavier Watts, safety. You got JT Timalo from Ohio State, edge rusher. Omar Norman Lotz, Savion Williams, wide receiver. Xavier Restrepo. I think second. Xavier Restrepo. He deserves to be a second round wide receiver. Like, how do you argue with his production there at Miami with Cam Ward, bro? Like, dude knows how to play football. But because I think he's not the flashiest wide receiver or the most physically gifted wide receiver, I think he's gonna drop and gonna end up at a team like the Chiefs or Eagles, some team like that who don't need that type of talent, but they're gonna get him because people gonna sleep on him. And I think he could really surprise some people and be real good in the NFL. We got Deion Sampson on the board, Jaden Higgins, Jack Beck. I really think Edge, JT could be the player we take right here. Took a tight end. 50. The next pick is 58. Wide receiver should be there, but could go Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia. He's from kind of around the area, so this is tough right here. Savion Williams is an interesting player. He had a 78.9 grade this year from PFF. 88.9 contested catch. So that means he 50-50 balls ain't 50-50 balls when you throwing to him. He had 8 drops this year. 8 drops is a lot. I don't know if I want to take a player 8 drops. He's 6'5", 255. He's a big wide receiver. Jaden Higgins is another big wide receiver. He had a 90 grade this year, 85 last year, 78 the year before that. So he's produced all 3 years. His last 3 years in college. Played 13 games, 2 years, 12 games his first year. Only 2 drops this year. 6'4". I think we take Jaden Higgins here with this pick. We go pass catchers back to back. Tyler Warner in the first, Jaden Higgins in the second. 2 big bodies for Bryce Young to throw to. Then right here, I can see us going with a defensive player right here now. that we were taking tight end and wide receiver. I think we will go running back in probably the 4th or 5th round. Right here, a lot of tackles available, so could go tackle, but I don't think that's the hugest position of need. Like their O line played way better this year. Yeah, I think we just go. Let's see, Jared Ivey. He's big is he for his position? Like he had a great grade this year. He had a 90 grade this year, but he's 6'6", 285. He's big body. Then you got Jordan Birch. Who do y'all think is better between the two? Rankings wise, they have Jordan Birch ahead of him, like two spots. He's kind of been more even keel with his grades. Like he doesn't have the high of Jared Ivey, but he's been 77, 73, 72 rated grades over the years. 10 sacks this year, but 3 last year. He's 6'6", 295, so size wise, they're pretty similar. Let me go back to Jared Ivey because I think we're going with edge rusher right here. True pass rush sets, he 87. 8 sacks last year, 8 this year, 5 in 2022. I think we take Jared Ivey here. Let's see. Jared Ivey or Chris Paul Jr. Sebastian Castro. Let's look at Chris Paul Jr. real quick. 87 grade this year, but a 59 grade last year. These grades don't mean that much, but I do trust PFF kind of with how they evaluate players. 73 tackles. He has 78 coverage grade. 83 pass rush grade. 84 run defense grade. Pretty good. He's 6'1", 235, so he's a smaller linebacker. Cameron Williams from Texas. That could be somebody. I said we go edge right here and take Jared Ivey from Ole Miss. All right, we're back on the board in the 4th round with pick 109. I think we could go linebacker right here, Barrett Carter from Clemson. Running back. I mean, we could go wide receiver again, but I don't know if they're going to take that many wide receivers. Yeah, let's go. Tyler Barron could go edge again here. Yeah, I like Barrett Carter, linebacker from Clemson. So 109, we went Barrett Carter from Clemson. Back on the board at 112. I say value-wise, I say take Mason Taylor. Tight end from LSU. I think go 2 tight ends this draft. Why not? Like you can run 2 tight end sets. Like Mason Taylor's more of a receiving. They both kind of receiver on tight ends, but Tyler Warren is way more polished of a blocker, way more versatile of a player. I think you could play them both on the field at the same time. You could really go big and put big wide receivers and tight ends out there. And I think that'll help Bryce Young. So we're going to take Mason Taylor at 112. I think the value is there at that pick. So next we got pick 140, then 146, then 164. back on the board. Cody Lindenberg, linebacker, Minnesota. Denzel Burks, Dorian Strong, Emory Jones Jr., Isu Tutton, Jordan James. Let's look at him. He had 86 grade this year, 92 last year. He has a 90.9 rushing grade. How many yards he had? He had 1,200, almost 1,300 yards this year. 764 last year. He's 5'10", 210, so he's not a small running back. He's only 20 years old, which I like that, being 20-year old. I mean, he has more years on him as a running back. So he probably has like 2 extra years that most running backs don't get before they hit 30. Bishop Tutton had 77. Besu, I don't know how to pronounce it. 77 grade this year, 72.7 last year. His best year was in 2022. He played 11 games, had almost 1,400 yards. Ooh. Numbers wise, his numbers are better than Jordan's. But 11 games, 13 games, 11 games. He's 5'11", 209, so pretty much the same size, if not bigger. He's older, almost 2 years, well, almost a year. I'd be interested to see their 40s, because I think I think they should take a fast running back if they take one. Because Chuba Hubbard, he's more of a power back in between the tackles. I think you want to kind of have, when you use 2 running backs, I feel like they shouldn't be exactly the same. I feel like one should be a speed back, one should be a power back, or one should be a receiving back, one should be a power back. DB, I think we go with O'Donnell Fortin. Yeah, I think we take him. We looked at his profile last draft, so I think at least one of those running backs still gonna be there at 146. I may be wrong though. Yeah, both of them are still there. Who should we take though? I think we're gonna go with Tutton out of Virginia Tech. All right, last pick in the 5th round for our second draft. We're here at 164. Higgins, Tyler Batty, Upton Stout. I've heard good things about him. Pebbles from Virginia Tech that would fit the D-line narrative that they need. I think they go safety here and take Upton Stout from Western Kentucky. So our grade, so that they're saying is we should have drafted Will Campbell instead of Tyler Warren, which, I mean, I don't think their offensive line is that bad. I feel like getting Bryce Young some weapons would be a lot better plan. So we took Tyler Warren with the 12th pick. Then we went to Jaden Higgins. So we got 2 big body receiving threats for Bryce Young. Then we went edge and took Jared Ivey. That was an A grade. Then we took Barrett Carter, Mason Taylor, O'Donnell Fortin, Beshul Tootin, and Upton Stout. We had a B- grade in this draft. And yeah, that concludes this video. If you want to see more mock drafts, comment what teams you would like to see. This is a series. This is the third video of the series. As you're watching this, some videos should be popping up that you can go check. I have done the Steelers and Giants mock draft so far. Those are 2 videos. If you like, you should check out. And yeah, catch you on the next video.
It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It ain't our ball. It's our ball, ain't it? It's our ball. Hey!